your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Chrissie is hilarious.
Chrissie, have you ever heard of the comedian Basha K. Ali?
No, that sounds like something you yell at before you blow up a plane.
Basha K. Ali!
30 seconds remaining.
But you know what, Chrissie, to say I dabbled in stand-up is something. I haven't even disrespected you at all.
I was very confused by the title, Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that's also what we call it when Ash takes off his shirt. I shouldn't be up here. I should be in school on the other side of the ocean. Oh, boys and girls, welcome to a nighttime edition of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Rumble, Rockfin, all of the places, even Facebook, if they'll have us, and the occasional Twitch. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you all this evening. I have a fabulous guest returning to the show this evening. But before I bring her on, I have a couple of quick dates to promote. I can't believe it, but on Monday, I am getting on a plane and going back to Los Angeles. I did not know that this would happen. I didn't see this coming. The last time I was there was March of 2020, just as our old friend, the pandemic, was kicking off. So I will return to Los Angeles next week. I'll be headlining the Pineapple Hill Saloon Friday, September 8th and Saturday, September 9th. I'll be joined by my funny friends, Lila Hart and Keanu Thompson. Plus, that week, I'll be doing a ton of other appearances along the way. Very special, some VIP exciting things that I don't want to ruin the surprise for. And then I'll be doing a really wonderful fundraiser Saturday, September 23rd in Mayapack, New York. Get your tickets for that. It'll be myself, Gino Bisconti, and Anthony Cumia. Then I'm heading up to Minnesota for the first time to headline the Great River Bowl and Partners Pub in Sartell, Minnesota. And the great Nick Rekieta will be hosting for me there. I'll be joined by Lila Hart as well. We don't know what Nick's going to do. Is he going to do a guest spot? Is he going to host? We're just going to let him run around and see what happens. Then I'm back in Long Island at the Brokerage, October 27th and 28th. Then in Tampa, Sunday, December 3rd at Side Splitters Comedy Club, back at their main club. And then San Diego, January 5th and 6th, Friday and Saturday. 2 shows on that Saturday. And I'm pretty sure I'll be with Lila Hart. She was with me last time I was in San Diego, but I'll have to firm that up. Get your tickets now. Go to ChrissieMayr.com. And as always, if you know of a venue, tag them on Twitter, tag me on Twitter, reach out to them, give them a call. If you know of any great sort of based, it doesn't even have to be a comedy club. I've performed in Elks Lodges. I've performed, I'll go wherever the wind blows me. Okay, cool. Please and thank you. On the show today, you may know her. She's been on before. She's one of my absolute favorites. She is in charge of media and spaces at Timcast. She's one of my absolute favorite follows on Twitter. And I don't think I've ever said that about anyone I've had on the show. She's just absolutely fabulous. It sounds kind of gay to call her a thought leader, but I truly do believe that she always just has very intelligent takes and great insight into whatever's going on in the world, both positive and negative. So I'm so happy she's back tonight with us. It's Josie, the redheaded libertarian.
Hi, that was so nice. I loved your intro. It made me a little weepy.
That's the goal. I want people in tears by the time I bring them on the screen.
Yes.
I was my husband Frank makes the intros for every show basically. But gosh, my friend, this is insane. 2 of my stand-up comedy friends passed away in the last 2 weeks.
Oh.
But he put some footage in the last Simcast intro, and I'm crying during the intro. I was like, oh my God, I'm like sobbing. It's like footage of like my friend Griff Daddy
Mhm.
Donovan, and so by the time the show starts, I'm like fully sobbing.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I also am a very easy person to make cry. Like,
Mhm.
I'll cry, Josie, I'll cry at people's weddings, like people I don't even know, like when
Mhm.
I'm just a date at someone's wedding, I'm like, oh, it's a family friend and I don't know them, but I'll be crying because I'm like, this is
I
so
cry
good.
during commercials. I mean, I'm a weeper. I
Oh my
sob.
gosh. Well, that's good. That's probably the goal of whoever's making that commercial. They're like, we're gonna hope that a woman is watching this and they're gonna
Yeah.
cry, but not so much that they can't like open up their wallet and purchase our product.
Yeah, it was a Publix commercial the other day, just sobbing.
Publix.
Sobbing over the Publix commercial.
Do you have I talk about this with my friends all the time, like pandemic grudges, like do you remember certain stores that were shitty or that like treated you poorly, and then you're like, well, I'm just not going back there. And I guess I'm starting to think about this again as
Mhm.
it's going to rear its head
Yeah,
one more.
I actually left an entire shitty state because they treated me shitty. I left my shitty state and I came to Florida.
Where were you before?
I was in Massachusetts.
Oh, right, right. Oh my God.
Mhm.
Well, there you go. Yeah, you've written off an entire state. That's the way
Absolutely.
to go.
Yeah, I take no prisoners.
Oh, and there's a liquor store. It is the closest liquor store to where we live, but we won't go there because it's just I remember we were one time in the store holding our bottles and the guy's like, "No, sorry, you're not wearing a mask." We're like, "But wait, it would take just as much time to buy these things as it would to leave." We're just it made no
Oh yeah,
sense.
there was a liquor store, and believe it or not, in my town that I grew up with, and they had a sign on their door, handwritten sign saying that they won't serve anybody who wasn't vaccinated. And you can't really do that. Like, it's up to their discretion, but they were going to look at vaccine passports or something. And I'm just like, nope, just never. No, I'm moving. I'm out.
It was scary. I remember I was at a point in New York City, which I'm only in like once a week, maybe twice, but I was like, you know what? If I don't go to another restaurant in New York City, I think I'm good. Like I know this one deli will let me in that I can get coffee. I know I can get like coffee at Starbucks or whatever. I know I can like grab food at this one place by the Compound Media Studio. I was like, I was actually like, I had made peace with the fact that I wasn't going to go to another restaurant again. And then it let up and I was like, oh, I guess I made it out.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because at the time they weren't saying to anybody, just stick it out for a year and a half and you'll be over it.
No,
So
they made you feel like this is the new normal and this is
yeah.
how it's gonna be forever. And I'm just like, I'm not raising my kids in the States. Sorry. Not if this is how it's going to be forever.
How have you, because you were just in you had a tornado, was it circling around you like
Yes.
yesterday?
Oh my God. So it was, God, all the days are blending together. I think it was early yesterday morning and then like all through the night because we had Hurricane Adalia. And I was on the outer band, so I didn't take a direct hit from it. I was just on the outside of it. And I also live in like Tornado Alley of Florida. So the mix of being in such a flat area on top of the outer bands of the hurricane, I had like 9 tornado warnings. The alert on my phone kept firing off in the middle of the night saying, take cover immediately, take cover. My daughter's got a cell tracker on her cell phone to look for the tornadoes, and one was right behind our house. I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
No way.
They all missed us. Are my properties in great condition? Like I haven't been through the neighborhood yet, but we're good, which is good. It was just wild.
Like you hear the house phone ring, you pick it up and it's the tornado and it's like, look outside.
I'm at your window. Yeah, essentially that's what it felt like.
How have you, and I know that you're like, do you homeschool your kids?
No, I actually came here. I vetted the school district very well. Super deep red. I had thought about doing it. I did homeschooling during the pandemic. And one of my daughters didn't respond well to it. And another one of my daughters is gifted. So I have her in special classes on top of that. So it didn't work for my kids. So I was like, all right, vetted the school district. Excellent. Have all these great programs. They have the 1776 project.
Ooh.
Yeah. The kids with the kids are all like good kids, and it's just all right. I've got my eye on it. I'm invested in the school, and I'm not letting anything happen. So, and
Do
that's how.
you refer to your kids as the gifted one and the ungifted one?
Only as a pejorative for my gifted one. They're gifted.
I would actually probably prefer to be the ungifted one in that situation. It's like less pressure.
Yeah. She's crazy. She's my youngest one, so she's 8, and she keeps. I got a call from her teacher. She had the highest grades or the highest test scores in like her school by a margin.
Wow.
Tell me this,
and she was calling to see, like, is she part Asian somewhere in the family?
She beat the Asians.
Oh my God! I hope she let them all.
That was my. I was like, like, wait, she beat all the kids, and the teacher's like, yeah. I'm like, all the kids? Yeah. I'm like, are you sure she beat all the kids? So
in your face, Asians. That's really cool.
Wild, wicked, smart, just incredibly gifted child, and just. She doesn't stop talking. This is the thing about gifted children. They like, it's almost like, it's not Asperger's, but it's like da 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 da.
Because their brain is always going.
Brain's always going. Exactly. Yep.
How did you find and you have 2 girls, right? How was their 3?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm like, I can't believe 3 people like came out of you. Like, you still look like a kid to me, but I think that I am, maybe I'm just still in like teenager brain. But how do you feel like all this time has gone by, the girls have gone back to school? How do you feel like the pandemic, like, has it screwed with them in any way that you can like determine like there's been a long-term effect on them? I mean, but I feel like you're pretty on point and a good mom, and I think if there was anything up, you would have dealt with it right away. But I'm just so curious with the people with kids, like,
absolutely,
now that this time has gone by, what you've noticed.
I mean, we were in Massachusetts and it was 2020. So what's it, 2023 now? So 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I had a 10-year-old, a 9-year-old, and God, math, 5-year-old. See, I'm not the gifted one. My
call her in.
Yeah, right. So,
yeah,
do this math for me. So so my oldest one was a tomboy, and she was dealing with some pressure from the queer agenda at the time.
Wow. Okay.
So thank God school got out, and I was able to deal with that and get that under control. Now she's well adjusted, and obviously not, because it's a social contagion. My middle daughter during the pandemic was getting kind of depressed because it was just hard for her, because all those people saying that she was going to kill her grandmother if she hugged them, and she's my second one. So she took that really hard, and it was really difficult, because everybody in Massachusetts was afraid of the unvaccinated, and my kids were unvaccinated, and they are, when it comes to COVID. So, she was dealing with people not wanting to be around her, and that was really hard for her. So I had to deal with her depression on top of that. And then my youngest one, I learned, because I was spending so much time with her, that she was different, but in like a really special way. So she all of a sudden got fascinated in space, my gifted one, and she's 5, and she's giving me these presentations on the dwarf planets of the universe, and like telling me about them and describing them and like their sizes. And she's 5, and this is all coming out of my 5-year-old, and I'm just like, something is up. Something's really up. But so I was able to focus on that and be like, all right, I'm gonna figure out that this one's really smart, but I need to figure out how smart she is. And going through all that with her, I was able to be like, all right, I got the queer agenda stuff under control, I got the depression under control, and I got the smartness figured out, in that time where I had them home. Took them and moved to Florida, and everything's just been perfectly fine and well adjusted. There's no COVID here. I mean, it's normal. Everything's normal here. It's like old world stuff.
How do you think like, I don't know, all signs are pointing to the shenanigans of 2020 are gonna come back? Like,
yeah. So
I would like to believe that a lot of us have learned lessons and have been like burned by the government, and we're like, we would be smarter this time around. But I also see a lot of the same people just lining up to be told what
Yes.
to do.
Oh, absolutely. People love that security over freedom. They're like, it's like a magnet to them. Like, somebody's going to take care of me. Oh, yay. I actually do a Spaces show once a week on Sundays called the Everything Space with a group of my friends. And we had on Jeremy Redfern, who is the press secretary for Ron DeSantis. And
Ooh.
yeah, he's wonderful. One of my friends, I really, really like him. So he was talking about, the pandemic, how Governor DeSantis handled the pandemic, which is one of the reasons I left Massachusetts to go be normal, and it worked. And I was like, we're kind of approaching where it seems like it's going to happen again. And he's like, everything will be exactly this. Like, we're not going to ever shut down anything because now we know what to expect. But what I read about on the CDC website, this new variant, because they're advertising it as like super mutated, which makes you think it's going to have superpowers and shoot your eyes out or something. But really, it's just it's more of like an incestual like idiot essentially. So it's morphed like 35 times, but it looks like the Omicron variant, which was like a cold. The Omicron was like a glorified cold. So that's what this one is. It's the Omicron, and it's morphed a bunch of times. So, but they're like, oh, but we don't know. It could do bad things. We don't know yet. But it's looking like it's just going to be a cold, and we're all just going to, the immunity seems to last for about a year, natural immunity. So it seems like we're just going to go through this like the flu. It's just another flu.
It says, my good friend Gino Bisconti says, yeah, COVID is the flu with a better publicist. And that's one of my favorite catchphrases.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you touched on something really important. It's that people find comfort in like, okay, now I don't have to try as hard at work.
Yes.
Now I don't really have to like go to the gym. Like I don't have to go see friends, be around people, go the extra mile. It's just like life on sweatpants mode.
Exactly. That's a really good way to put it, a good way to look at it too. People, they're not held to the same standards when everything is locked down. They can just be in their homes and be reclusive and not really be held to a standard.
God, what would it, I mean, and then there's people who, and before when we were talking about like what to talk about in this episode, I was like, Josie, we'll just watch fun videos. We won't get into anything serious. We won't get deep. And like, here we are. I've broken my promise, but
that's okay. It's not as black pill and dark as the stuff I've been talking about for the last few months. So we're digging it. It's all optimism.
Yeah, we want to be hopeful. What were the kind of, we don't have to get into them, but like what were the more black pill topics that you are feeling sick of at the moment?
Oh God. I mean, just the whole transing children thing. It's just porn in the schools. Like, they're coming for children, and it's like, it's very obvious that what they're doing, what their agenda is. And that stuff just I can't deal with it, but I have to deal with it because that's who I am as a person, to fight this stuff. But it's just like, that's been a really hard thing, and then on top of like World War III and our completely inept government trying to like make that happen. And it's, the whole thing is just a mess. So those are my black pilled stuff I've been dealing with. But yeah, I'm all up for fun videos and happiness and.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What is, I do have some fun videos queued up. Well, shoot, one of my videos was at the New York Post. Elon Musk blames elite LA school for brainwashing communist trans daughter to hating him for being rich. We'll skip that. But you know what? Even Elon Musk can't avoid it. And
and that's why Elon Musk like follows me and stuff. Like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
When did he start following you? Oh,
he started following me in April. He'd been watching me for a few months, because this is what he does before he follows you. He like watches you, and he'll like something and then step away, and then watch you, like something and then step away. Then he'll start commenting on your things and then
he's like
away.
A cat.
Retweet, and then he'll step away.
How cat-like of him. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then one day I woke up and it was just my notifications were blown up, and it said Elon Musk followed you, and I got like all these DMs. I'm like, oh my God. But he followed me because it was like the stuff that I touch on about like the trans agenda and how much it bothers me. He's right there. He believes exactly what I believe about it, that it's a social contagion, and they're targeting our children, and it's a way to destroy family and a way to destroy stability and erase gender norms and destabilize history, and it just throws everything off. And then when nobody is grounded anymore, that's when the government can sweep in and offer you a solution to ground you, which is more government.
And it just seems like they are it's a big overstep. It's very much biting off more than they can chew, and the reaction is, my God, I never thought in my lifetime I'd hear so many people talking about homeschooling and making homeschooling cool again. And I mean, that was something for losers only and weirdos. And now
Yeah.
it's like everyone's like, okay, how can I bring a little more of this into my home, and and just being aware of, like, I feel like I grew up, not that my parents didn't really care, but they were not helicopter parents. They didn't know what we were reading, what we were learning, what we were doing.
Yeah.
No asking around the table, like, what did your teacher talk about today? Did she try to talk about pronouns weren't even a thing.
It wasn't even a thing that our parents even had to worry about. This is the social contagion. It all came in the last 5 years or so, where all of this started happening, and teachers started really grooming children into this ideology. But yeah, I mean, I was a 90s kid. My parents, I came home when the streetlights came on. I mean, you had some freedom. I mean, my kids have a good amount of freedom, but I watch them just enough where I know that there's no adults that are nefarious around them,
And it's crazy. I just forget. I mean, I love Twitter, but I forget how much porn is on Twitter. Like, and I went to do a search. Like, I just type in TikTok into the search of Twitter because I was going to look for TikTok videos, and I was like, in the first swipe, I got porn. I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, it is there.
And also, I think Twitter is like age 13 or 14 up, so kids can see that stuff. So I know that they do have dick pic bots, I believe Elon called it, where they have bots that can find a dick. So
I would like one of those for my inbox, just generally. Filter them out,
yeah.
Send them away.
Absolutely, yeah. I'd need one for my DMs. Absolutely.
So did you and your daughters talk about this this viral 12-year-old kid out of Colorado who got in trouble for having the "Don't Tread on Me" flag on his backpack? Like, what did they all think of that?
It's just hilarious because they know their history. Like, I'm their mother, of course. There's nothing to do with racism. That flag represents it was a promise from the American colonists to the British, saying, if you come here and you try any of your crap, if you try to coerce us, if you try to take our liberties, we're going to defend ourselves. And that's what that flag meant. And it's rooted in history. And what these people tried to say to this poor little boy in this video, they're like, it's rooted in slavery and the slave trade, so we can't have that around here. Now, the thing about what they were doing and why it's unconstitutional is because they were trying to say that they had a rule around this flag, like you couldn't have this flag because it was bad to be around kids or something because of it's rooted in slavery. However, it's not rooted in slavery, but the school opened themselves up to a huge First Amendment suit because schools may ban all of something. Like, for instance, you probably couldn't wear hats to school, neither could I, because
No, we couldn't. And in fact, we had a tradition, like when it was your birthday, your friend could give you a helium balloon, and then at the end of the day, you'd either feel like a total loser or the most popular kid in school because you'd float away like up with all your balloons. And eventually, kids would get upset. They'd be like, "I have no friends," so then they had to ban the balloons.
Yeah. So, but the school banned all hats. Like, nobody could wear any hat. It didn't matter. It was banned at the school. They would have to ban all patches. They couldn't just ban some patches. They can't ban based on the message because you do not, I think it was 1969 SCOTUS ruled that children do not shed their constitutional right to free speech and free expression at the schoolhouse gates. And so that means that they can express themselves in a way, but the school cannot target them based on how they express themselves. So that means if they didn't ban hats and you could wear a hat to school, you could wear a pro-NRA hat or you could wear a pink pussy hat, and either would be totally fine because they couldn't ban the message. They just have to ban hats.
So why didn't this teacher know this?
I think that this teacher was conflating it with the rebel flag, which many believe are rooted directly in slavery as opposed to just a Confederate symbol. Which would be my guess, is she was just confused, but then was too proud, had no humility to admit that she was confused, and instead opened the school up to a huge lawsuit. Or she was just trying to pull rank, and just she was personally offended by it and tried to hide behind the school being offended by it, and had no idea it would take off to this level.
I mean, it's such a small patch on this kid's backpack towards the bottom. Like, how are you even seeing that? You know what I mean? Like, shouldn't you be so focused on your lessons and, like, I don't know, making sure the kids are there and paying attention and behaving? Like, how? I mean, to even see that is wild to me. But
It's a backpack, like, you know, like the
Yeah.
kids take them off their back and set them down, like, and you're not paying it. You shouldn't be paying attention to that. You should be teaching the kid. But this teacher obviously is a bad teacher.
Unfortunately, I think a lot of women who find themselves as teachers, and it's like, I've just seen this so many times for it to not be a pattern. It's there is something in a person that becomes a teacher that they love control, and they love, like, it's so much easier to control a room full of kids than it is to control a room full of adults at, say, like a party or,
Yep.
any other time in your life. And not to, like, continually bag on my sister, but she's a really good example of that because, like, she's so controlling, and it might fly with her high schoolers, but it's like, it just it makes her hard to get along with as a fellow adult. So it's so has this teacher so do you think this family or this mom, I don't know if there was two parents here. I just see, like, this other little foot. So clearly the mom, like, brought her other child to this meeting. Do you think that I don't think the individual teacher could be sued, but do you think the school be sued?
Yes.
Do you think
The
really?
school, it was the Vanguard school, I believe, and they issued a statement, and they're like, this was wrong. This shouldn't have happened. We don't have a policy that says this. And they, like, really got ahead of it as best they could to fix it. So I think that they knew they were opened up to a lawsuit. So what they would do, they would have to sue the school or sue the district. And I believe there were two First Amendment lawyers that had reached out to the family and said, hey, we will definitely represent this because it's a win, But I don't know if they're going to pursue charges or anything. It was settled, so maybe not. But it's good to, it's good to be mindful. And these parents were very mindful of what was going on, and their kid was very well educated and knew he wasn't doing anything wrong. He really held his ground. He was stubborn, and I just love that they're raising such a great kid.
Like, I'm so impressed by this kid. He's confident, but he's not, like, maybe he's maybe 2% cocky, only because he knows he's right, and his family raised him to be confident and stand up for himself.
Yep, he's ungroomable.
Ungroomable, yes.
I love that.
And the hypocrisy of, like, yeah, you could have head to toe rainbows, and that's not an issue, but you have one tiny little yellow flag patch, and
yeah, they pulled him out of school a bunch of times. It sounded like they kept pulling him out of class at the beginning of the video when they were talking about it. Like, oh, he's just missed so much class. I just don't want him to miss any more class. So we just have to figure out what's going to go on with this. And it just seemed like this wasn't the first time he was pulled out of class.
Stop pulling him out of class. Like, clearly he wants to go to class.
That made me feel like it was a control thing for sure.
Yes. The teachers are so controlling. She's like, I just want to find a way for him to not miss so much class, AKA just listen to me, do what I say.
Yep. He needs to bend to my will. That's exactly what. And
teachers, man. The teachers have had it too good for too long. It's fun to make fun of him. Matthew Hammond, when is Josie going to start entering pie competitions in Florida?
I have to find some. And they have a county fair here, so I'm going to have to just look into it and go be their blue ribbon undefeated champion again.
Really? You've been a blue ribbon champion before?
Oh, yeah, 3 times.
Oh, my God. Where have you competed?
Up in Massachusetts. That's what I did up there. Well, what I would do, one of my hobbies was baking pies, and I'd enter them in contests and then win all the contests.
I knew that you were good, and I've seen your pie-nography, but I didn't know that you were competitive.
Yeah, award-winning. Yep. Yeah, several of my pies have been winners. So
how do you get, like, your crusts are ridiculous. Like, they're so neat and pretty, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I also probably am not making them often enough and don't have enough counter space because I
Mhm.
remember in my last apartment I was rolling the crusts out on the floor because I had no. I mean, with wax covered in wax
Of
paper,
course.
of course, of
Because there's
course.
just no shelf space. Exactly.
I know. I just was like,
The trick is Crisco. You use Crisco instead of butter. And it tastes, I
what
think it tastes better.
for the whole thing?
The whole thing. Yep, that's what's going to get you that flaky, pretty crust.
Oh my
And
god!
it's a crust that you can use for savory pies, like meat pies or chicken pot pies. And you can use the same recipe for sweet pies too, and it tastes just as delicious. It's like it's perfectly balanced.
And so the Crisco, is it more of a flavor thing or it's more of a texture thing that you can like manipulate it and make it into pretty patterns?
It's kind of both. I mean, I can play with dough and do whatever. And it's butter you can easily overmix, where Crisco is you don't really have that risk as much. It's like butter, you're like mix, and it's like, get right to the second. It's like, I'm perfect right now. And it's like, oh, joke's on you. I'm not perfect anymore. And
Yeah.
I'm
gonna go flaky and fall apart.
exactly.
You have the tiniest window. Okay. Yeah. Are you worried, because Florida is full of probably fellow pie makers. Are you worried about your competition?
Oh God, no. Not at all. You see, I lived up north, and I know now living in Florida that turning on the oven in the summer is sacrilege. So I know that I got way more practice up there in the north than they did down here, because they lose like 8 months out of the year pie baking.
Right. Florida chicks are not turning on their ovens probably half the year.
Exactly. But up in Massachusetts, where it's winter 8 months out of the year, then yeah, I'm gonna cook. I'm gonna bake a lot of pies.
Okay, what's the hardest pie to make?
When it comes to the filling, or like
I guess most time consuming, most steps.
I would have to go with maybe a chiffon pie, like a lemon chiffon or something, where you have to like have a perfect amount of like gelatin and stuff like that, or a meringue, where you need to mix it and bake it but not over bake it. Something like that would be a little more complicated, because there's more steps to it. My favorite pies to make, I don't really like making apple pies. I think that they're played out, but
they take forever. I
yes.
literally cut all of my fingers last time I made an apple pie.
Not a fan.
I guess someone's getting the blood sliced. Yeah,
exactly. And there are 2 crust pies, so I want to make it beautiful, like I do with all my roses and stuff. But apples are so hard and so chunky that you can't gracefully lay your lattice work over it. It's like all chunky and ugly, so they're just a waste of my time. I'm above them. So
you're above apple pies.
Above apple pies.
Woo!
I like to do amaretto cherry. I like amaretto cherry pies, and then I can make those pretty with the crust on top. I like a pumpkin meringue pie, and I do this like heaping meringue on top of it, where it's like this pile of it, and it looks like a pile of whipped cream almost on top of the pie, but it's meringue. And I like for one crust pies, I like my bourbon pecan pie. That's really good. That one's won an award.
Ooh, and are these recipes like, where did this come from? Did your mom teach you? A grandma?
My grandmother.
Oh.
So my grandmother taught me the crust recipe, how to make it. I grew up making pies with her. I taught her how to make all the pretty crusts, because hers were very, rustic.
Yeah, and grandmas don't have time for that. They're
exactly, the taste was there though, because they're grandmothers, so they make it with that love that that only other people can taste. So she taught me how to make pies, how to make the crust, and every holiday and everything I'd be over her house baking pies and all that. So I owe it all to her. But when it came to making the pretty stuff, I'm self-taught on the pretty flounces on my pie.
Which pies would you make with her?
We would do the chicken pot pie, because that's what we would eat at Easter every year, and sometimes at Christmas. And then she makes a 1 crust chocolate pudding pie, and she actually adds peanut butter to it, which is interesting. Yeah. Ooh. It's really good.
Like puts it on the bottom of the crust.
She does apple, and she does pumpkin, and she does lemon meringue, and those are her major pies.
How does she know that you are now above apple pies?
Yes, she does. So she makes the apple pies, and I'll enjoy them, but I'm just above making them. So she understands that. But she likes to make them. Grandmothers, they kind of come from that time where they don't mind peeling, 13 apples.
They have all day to do it. Yes.
Yeah. It's very nice. Things move slower. You know, I don't have time to peel 13 apples. So, yeah, but
Oh, and then I get all tripped. Oh my God, are the apples all different enough? Are they the right kind of apples?
I'll tell you the secret to an apple pie.
Okay.
You use cinnamon and nutmeg. You don't pick one or the other. Use both. And the other thing is, this is less heard of because most people use a Granny Smith apple for an apple pie, like the green apples. You actually use Macintosh apples. All right. And these will come out like more mushy, right? So they come out a little more mushy, right? But it tastes better than any other apple.
That goes against everything I've ever been taught and heard. I was told that Macintoshes were strictly hand apples, strictly eating apples.
Exactly.
You need to do what, like Cortland or Macoun, or like there's like
the galas. Yep, a lot of cognitive dissonance to work through on this, but that's the one. That's the winner. Mm-hmm.
I'm getting apple pilled right now. Like, I knew Granny Smith was always part of the equation. Like, I knew Granny Smith, I had heard that should be one of the 3 types of apples that you use. But wow, Macintosh making a comeback. This is going to be an exciting fall for me.
Yeah.
Matthew Hammond again. Can we get a pie? Wow, he really wants this pie making stream. Where both of you make pies and end the stream after showing the baked pies pulled from the oven. I would love to do this and then lose horribly to Josie. I'm down.
I could do like a pie making tutorial. I can teach you how to make the roses. And I put
yes, actually, could you? That would make my day.
That.
Okay. Because it's kind of embarrassing that I can't do that, because I always sort of thought of myself as like an artistic person, and like I did studio art in high school. So
yeah. I'm an artist too. I've just showed my paintings before, and I can do pie art, but like I can't decorate a cake to save my life. I mean, so it's like I have certain mediums that I can work in really well. Like I can do acrylic paint. I don't like oil paint. I could probably do it if I tried, but I don't like it. I don't even want to touch it. I can't
never
do watercolors.
Yeah.
No, can't do watercolors. I can do acrylic till I'm blue in the face. Can't do watercolors. Can't decorate a cake, but I can make a pie. So it's just weird the way that it all works out.
Pies are better though.
Yes.
You can taste like love. I've never tasted love from a cake.
Yeah.
From Matthew again. Has Josie made a key lime pie since she can get fresh key limes? Ooh.
I haven't made one yet here. I should though. I have a blueberry farm right near me that I was thinking I'd go and pick fresh blueberries and do a blueberry pie.
My God.
Mm-hmm.
Blueberry pies are the best. Okay, Adam Troy says pumpkin. Wow, these guys are really excited about the pie chat. Pumpkin pie, my fave. Why is it seasonal? This is 2023.
Yes. So I'm seasonal in Florida only because you have to turn on the oven. That's why it's seasonal in Florida. So I say pie baking season starts September 1st, which is midnight.
Wow, it's almost here.
Mm-hmm. Yep, pie baking season kicks off on September 1st. Because that's when you got to start your practice pies for Thanksgiving. Okay, I don't make the rule. You need to make practice pies so you don't get rusty.
That is so true, because a couple of years I go, oh yeah, I'll bring a pie to Thanksgiving, and then all of a sudden it is 2 days before Thanksgiving, and I have a complete meltdown because I'm like, what am I doing? I'm completely out of my depth here. I'm out of practice.
Yep, it's all about balance and time.
Practice pies begin tomorrow, folks.
Yep.
Matthew Hammond, does Josie not have 3 children to peel apples for her apple pies? No.
Oh yeah, my kids know better. I can't trick them anymore into that.
You're like, look, the gifted one won't do it. She's off drawing the universe,
and the other 2 are teenagers. So
yeah, no, the apple peeling days are behind them.
Exactly. You got a nice, I mean, aside from the gifted kids, you kind of had a nice window there of like 7, 8, and 9 where they would learn to peel the apple and peel the apples for you. And now they're way too smart for it.
And even better if you happen to be, this is a great segue. Most people want their children to be smart and more successful than they were, unless you're, of course, Jenna Bush, who doesn't care if her 3 children are smart or go to good schools. As she reveals one main priority as parent. This is how you know you have money. You got that Bush money, okay? your kid, you're like, let the kids be degenerates. You know what? Let them huff paint in the bathroom.
My kids are so normal. They're
Ugh.
normal like your kids.
While many parents might be hell-bent on making sure their children get into a good school, Jenna Bush Hager has revealed she's far more concerned that her 3 kids are instilled with a particular characteristic. Let me guess. That they're woke, that they're kind.
Yeah.
The 41-year-old presenter shares 3 children with her husband, Henry Chase Hager, who's 45, daughters Mila 10, Poppy 8, and son Hal is 4. So these are like sort of around your kids' ages.
Ah,
Giving a candid insight into her parenting style on Wednesday. Of course, she was on the Today Show with Hoda and Jen. Oh, she's like the co-host, right? So Jenna admitted her main focus is ensuring that I was right. I was right. Oh my God. I want them to be kind. Guess what? They can be kind and smart and get a good
yeah.
job.
You don't get to pick one. Jeez.
What an
Yeah,
annoying thing to say.
Yeah, that's what I said to my gifted daughter. I was like, you know what? You can either be gifted or you can be kind. You can't have both.
Yeah, being
Like, you know
kind
what?
doesn't
Gifted.
take up your whole mental capacity. Okay, like
That is so ridiculous.
I'm gonna play this.
And I spend almost all my time in parenting trying to raise kind kids.
Yes.
Like, I don't really care about.
Oh,
any
let
of
me
the
guess.
other stuff.
Applause, Blake.
I don't care
Applause
about them.
break.
I mean, they're smart and great.
Yeah.
But, like,
She
I-
wanted
you
an
know,
applause
I
break
don't
so
care
bad.
that they're number one in their class or go to good schools. I just want them to be the type of kids that.
How do you try? You
Yes,
shouldn't have to
that's
try.
the thing. That's exactly.
You know, I don't care if because all my kids are gonna end up in Skull and Bones anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. Like, my kids are kind, and I didn't like actively try. I just raised them like a normal human being, and they turned out kind. You know, like it's
Lame.
like, what do you mean? Like, you got to put their best interest aside, like put
Yeah.
their what they're gonna do for school aside, just so you can make sure that they're kind. Like, what?
Yeah. Well, I just want to make sure my kids don't microwave a squirrel. That's my only hope for them.
I'm putting all of my eggs in this basket to make sure that they don't freaking put the kittens in the microwave.
Being kind is the absolute bare minimum. From
And
any
you don't have to try to do that. Like, I mean, is the nanny raising the kids, and she's just like shows up and says, "Hey, let's be kind today," and that's like her big like. Are you not a parent? Like, it's just bizarre to me.
It is bizarre. Yeah, she's like, I don't know how my kids did it, but they're all bilingual. Our housekeeper taught them to be kind. I don't care about any of the other stuff. I don't care about that they are smart. Yeah, right. Great. I don't care that they are number one in their class or go to good schools. I just want them to be kind. Hoda
Oh,
says, yes, that's
so
the
gay.
thing. I would be like, really? That's it? Coolness just comes too, says Jenna. In her formative years, Bush Hager and her twin sister Barbara, you don't hear about Barbara so much anymore, attended Preston Hollow Elementary and then the Hockaday School, a private girls' college prep school while living in Dallas. I'm sure those weren't cheap. And look, they ended up kind. In 94, after her father, George W., was elected governor of Texas and they moved to Austin, she enrolled in St. Andrew's Episcopal, which currently has tuition of $28,482 per year for kindergarten through 4th grade. And
You know, maybe she's onto something. Maybe she's like, listen, like I'm a jerk. I'm a terrible person. And I think maybe it's because I went to these privileged schools and it had nothing to do with the fact that I was neglected by my parents. So maybe if I just don't care that my kids go to these schools, they're not going to turn out awful like I turned out.
yes,
Right?
my child didn't spit on a waiter today.
Winning.
My child tipped the valet all by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so grades 5 through 8 is almost 33 grand a year. Wow, the prep school, the private prep school that I used to work at, which is K through 12, was back when I worked there, $36K a year. I can't imagine what it is now.
Thing for a private prep school in my area up in Massachusetts, and it was $50,000 a year. Or no, yeah, $50,000 a year. There were a lot of Chinese exchange students there.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, I wonder if she was ignored by Papa W.
And she's like, all right, I'm not the best person in the world. It's probably because I was rich. So I'm not going to care about education and see, and maybe my kids will turn out kind. It's like, no, you just need an active, involved parent who's not going to neglect you and is going to listen to you and not going to like be your friend, but also.
Yeah. As long as your dad doesn't do 9/11, you're going to grow up to be kind.
Exactly. It's not that hard. This is science.
He was too busy doing 9/11. Pay attention to my needs.
Yes. We get it, Jenna.
Following her school years, her dad's ascent to president of the United States, Bush Hager attended the University of Texas, majoring in English, and took summer classes at NYU. She graduated from UT in 2004. Her little ones will never be invited on the Today Show again after her daughter Mila revealed live on air that she had once peed her pants. Oh my God, I didn't hear about this. That's horrible. Okay, we are clicking on this.
Wait, they're not invited back, or is that a joke? Is that a joke?
It sounds for real. This was June. Okay, I guess Jenna Bush had her children on the Today
that
Show.
her mom wants Peter Pants.
Oh, Mila revealed on live on air that she had once peed her pants. I think that the kid peed their pants.
What is that? The headline? I misread the headline, maybe.
Jenna Bush Hager vows her kids will never be invited back on the Today Show after her 10-year-old daughter Mila announced live on air that her mom once peed her pants. So she outed her.
She was probably drunk. She's a wine mom.
Yeah. Every woman pees her pants at least once. I had friends in college who they confused the desk chair in my room. It was hilarious.
As an adult, not yet. I haven't. I'm sure I will when I'm elderly.
Wow, so they're just never allowed back. You could just be like, kids
say the darndest things, but no, I'm banning. Mommy's gonna ban you from her show now forever because you humiliated mommy. Yeah, that's why your kids aren't kind.
Yeah, this is why they're not kind, because you're not letting them tell the world that you peed your pants. Speaking on the program in June, after she had brought her 2 daughters to the Today Plaza in Rock Center so they could attend Ed Sheeran's outdoor concert, they said they're not here because they'll never be invited on the show again. That sounds like that there's some heat behind that. She sounds pissed.
Oh yeah, definitely.
My goodness. Because they just like to get secrets out of you. They're allowed to come and watch the concert, but they're nowhere close to the microphones. Holy You know what, Jenna? At this rate, you're going to end up with a kid who's a stand-up comic, because if you're going to thwart expression, that this is the result.
And her mom is going to be the butt of all of her jokes because she wasn't allowed to have a healthy, hilarious relationship with her mom growing up.
I hope that one of your kids grows up to give you diapers for Christmas one year. I hope that this is the family joke forever.
Oh, yes, me too.
In December, Bush Hager's oldest daughter was invited to the show for a quick chat, but quickly began dropping truth bombs. Look at their. Is this a house or a restaurant? I can't even tell the difference.
That's so big. They're so rich that I have no idea what they're sitting in.
They look rich. I don't know what it is. It's probably this hat.
Yeah. Normal people don't wear that hat. You have to have a certain amount of money when you're allowed to wear that hat.
No one is dirty. I don't see any skimmed knees.
Those dresses are probably from Balenciaga.
Oh, Lordy. How is Balenciaga still a thing? I don't know.
Because they only market to the rich people and the rich people.
And it's still absolutely a sign, showing a sign of how great you are. The more designery stuff you have. Okay, so she outed about the peeing of the pants. Well, I think disinviting your kids from your show is not a way to make them kind.
Yeah, probably not.
Ooh,
but my kids are, because there's cancer all over the internet. So my kids, I have their privacy protected, but I also.
What is like the biggest challenge or the biggest thing you feel like you have to shield them from that might feel like a losing battle?
On the internet?
Yeah.
Or in general with life?
Both.
It's hard to, I have 2 teenagers, So it's hard to keep them. They tend to not really be interested in social media, which is good for me. So they mostly use their phones to talk to their friends, like from Massachusetts, or like they're in like Discord chats with all of their friends. And that's like the extent of their social media. So I have such good kids. It's like, it's hard because I hear parents struggling with stuff like this all the time. My kids, I'm just like, if you don't want me to see it, don't put it online because I will see it. And that's it. And they're just like, okay, we're just going to listen to our mom. So,
Wow.
so I have just really, really good kids when it comes to that stuff. I mean, my former tomboy now, she's very, very girly now. And, so now I'm just dealing with normal teenage stuff, like what's appropriate to wear, what's not appropriate to wear, like having a curfew, things like that. Oh, hello there.
Oh,
She missed me. So yeah, just normal parenting stuff. But like when it comes to my kids, I really hit the jackpot with how like good they are and kind they are. Because, my dad didn't do 9/11. And right. I just really lucked out. So I feel bad when I hear parents talking about how awful they have it. And I'm just like, yeah, I can't relate.
why do you think that is? Is it just sheer being absent, like just not putting in the time, not putting in the hours?
I mean, I was a stay-at-home mom. I did, when I first had kids, I went to school to be a neuromuscular therapist, and I had my own business for 10 years doing that, could set my own hours around my kids. And I was able to raise my kids, essentially be a stay-at-home mom and work when I could work when they were at school or whatever. And I do my business then. And I was able to be very present with them. My oldest daughter ended up getting sick and had to, for 4 years, she just went into remission. But I had a different relationship with her because she was sick.
Wow.
Had to be really close with her for that, which was great. Then my baby is just a mama's girl anyway. And my middle daughter went through, she had some bone stuff when she was born where she had to go to Shriners Hospital for a while. So I think
Wow.
I had a different kind of connection with each of mine, given some of their medical stuff or just their brains or whatever. But they can trust me. They tell me everything. I just have a very good relationship with all of my daughters.
That's really great, and it doesn't sound like there's any whiff of like one had more of needed more attention because of an issue, and now the other ones feel ignored. It feels like that seems
Yeah.
to be
That was something I was
even
very mindful of.
even with adults. Like I notice adults have issues. Like, wow, yeah, my parents paid way more attention to my sister or my brother, and that lasts all
That
through
never
adulthood.
goes.
Yeah,
Exactly. That doesn't ever go away. So I try to be mindful, especially with my middle daughter, because I was a middle child. So I'm just trying to give a little extra focus to that because, those are the ones that kind of learn to entertain themselves and they learn to kind of take care of themselves because they're kind of caught in the middle. And I understand that dynamic, but it's just, we do our best as parents, but some parents are just like, you know what, this kid's easy. This kid's cool. I'm going to spend the most time and attention on this kid. And the ones kind of get kicked to the wind.
right. That's so true. Yeah, you got guys listening. You got to spend time with your uncool kids.
Mm-hmm. You got to make them. You got to
Yes.
make them cool.
You have to make them cool. Exactly. What's up, Junior? What is Josie's favorite Norm Macdonald joke? Oh my
The mom joke.
How does it go?
Oh God, that's the joke is that it goes on forever and ever and ever and ever. I also like his what he says about cis, that you're a cis male.
Right.
And he goes on to say, and the guy, he's explaining it because cis had just come out at that point. Nobody even knew what it was.
He's like, it's normal. That's
He's
what
like, it's a way to marginalize normal people. And I was like, oh my God, he just had such a way of saying things. Norm Macdonald followed me, by the way. He was a fan. He followed me. He followed me on the Redheaded Libertarian, and he followed me on Queen Josie. He followed both of my accounts. Big fan. Huge fan of Pie.
Did you die? Oh, who were you more excited to see following you, Norm Macdonald or Elon Musk?
Honestly, initially it was definitely Norm. I was more shocked when Elon Musk followed me, but honestly so excited when Norm did because he's just my favorite person.
You know what? It is a bigger W for Norm because that's a personality follow. I mean, like Elon, it's a personality follow too, but it's like it's your work. It's like your
Joe Rogan just followed me yesterday.
Ooh, look
Yeah.
at that.
Right?
Wow.
Like, what is going on? Like, what is this timeline?
Everything's coming up Millhouse. That's what.
Oh, right? I'm here for it. I'm just
That's awesome.
cool. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let me pull up something else. We talked about Jenna Bush. Oh, this is so funny. This I was going to bring up when we were talking about designer. Oh, right, Balenciaga. I flew from Florida to Paris to buy a $5,500 handbag and ended up being detained by customs. Oh,
the humanity.
of course it's a Dior bag. A woman. Why? How would you spend so much on a bag?
Nope. My most expensive bag it was a treat for myself. And it was $99.
Wow, that's not even that much for a bag.
Yep, that's my most expensive bag. I treated myself. It was after my first X payout. So my Twitter X payout.
Oh, okay.
But I want a bag. So I treated myself.
What kind of bag was it?
Michael Kors.
Michael Kors is a solid brand, and I haven't seen too much like woke shenanigans out of them.
Yes,
I also really like Coach because it's good quality.
Yes.
But they dabble in woke shenanigans.
I know. I have my clutches are Coach. I
Yeah.
have my Coach clutches.
I wonder if this is a generational thing that we're like Michael Kors and Coach. Okay, so I need to learn about this woman. Did she go to Paris just to buy the bag? It sounds like it.
That way. Like she special ordered it, but had to pick it up maybe.
Molly Dare. She's 45. She's from Florida. She's your neighbor, Josie. She frequently shares her. Oh, of course, she's on TikTok. She's a mother of two, and spending this kind of money on a bag. Okay.
What does her husband do for work?
Yeah. What does she do for work?
I know. Is this them or is this a commercial?
This is a commercial.
Oh, I was gonna say her husband's Asian, so he must have a really good job.
Oh my God, this is her. She looks like a hot Amy Schumer. Okay, I'm gonna click on her TikTok and see if it pulls up this video. Oh no, of course not. It's something with oil. All right, I'm gonna scooch it back. Okay, some of the comments. Okay, so the viral video amassed 894,000 views. She's giving a PSA to all shoppers. Oh, for this tiny thing? You got to be kidding me.
That's not even pretty.
No, it's not. It looks like garbage. You could get something like this at TJ Maxx for $10.
Exactly. And it wouldn't even be left over from Michael Kors. It would be like their scum stuff that they pick up from
right. Oh my God. Okay, so she was reprimanded by customs in Newark Airport because she bought a $5,500 handbag and didn't realize she had to declare it.
How do you not notice that? Like
that's like number one going abroad thing is the declaring of the stuff.
Incredible.
She purposely went to Paris to go to Dior and buy the mini lady Dior bag she had been eyeing for years.
Years? That means it's outdated. They come up with new designs every single year. She's buying an outdated bag for $5,500.
She's been thinking about a bag for years. She wanted to treat herself for her birthday. I knew if I bought it over there, it would be cheaper, both because it's cheaper over there and you get the tax refund back. And it's a high ticket item. So I really wanted to save the money. Yes, she's very interested in saving money by purchasing a $5,500 bag.
Oh my God. I can't imagine having that kind of expendable income.
And then imagine because there's always this, as someone who has had to puke in their purse once, that is forever logged in your memory because there will be a situation where you're in an Uber and you're drunk and you have to make the decision like, am I going to ruin my Uber score or is my purse going to take the hit? And to me, my Uber score is more valuable. So I did throw up in my purse once. I was living in Queens. I had to throw the purse down the garbage chute. And then I swear the next week I saw the super's wife carrying it around. I was like, no.
Fighting for that bad boy.
And I knew it wasn't even a nice bag, Josie. It was part of a luggage set. It was like a tote. It was a TJ Maxx
some people can't see items that are good thrown away and let it be. Like that's why you can put anything on the side of the road and it'll be gone. because
Mhm.
there are those people that are like, no, this is like, you can't throw this away. This is treasure. So yeah,
Perfectly good
Puke-
puke-filled bag.
puke-filled bag of treasure.
And I also just not even so much my Uber rating. I was like, the last thing I want this driver to have to spend his evening doing is, pulling over and lysoling out my puke.
Yeah.
So
So what you do is you get those doggy doo-doo bags that come with a little bowl, and they're
Okay.
this, they have this much space.
That's
and you
right. The
in your
little
bag,
roll.
and your go-to, you're like, all right, I think I'm gonna puke in the next 5 minutes. You kind of get that warning, before you're gonna, and you're like, I'm gonna get one of these bad boys ready, and I'm gonna puke right in this baby bag.
That is so smart. And those little doggy bags don't take up very much space at all. You're right.
And you can puke like 100 times before they're run out too. It's incredible.
Yes, you're right, Fiariel. The information about spending amounts is on the customs forms they give you when you land. Yeah, they give them to you while you're still on the plane. They go, fill them out, losers. I didn't know that you're only allowed to spend $800 or declare $800 of purchases when you come back to the US. If you don't, or if you spend more than $800, you are liable to be taxed up to 50% of the cost.
Whoa,
Molly,
I didn't know that part. That's awful.
that sounds terrible. Molly explained that she wasn't aware of these rules, so when she re-entered the US and went through customs carrying her Dior shopping bag, the agents detained her. Why wouldn't she have just taken it out of the shopping bag and carried it like it was her purse that she's owned all along?
So it was over $800. So she would have had to pay 50% of taxes on almost on like 40. What would that be? Where's my gifted child to do the math?
Oh, yes.
$4,600, 50% toward tax. So she wasn't really going to save any money flying all the way to Paris to buy it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, at all. On top of the plane ticket to get to Paris. I mean, and the hotel. Yeah,
She's
she
an
might
idiot.
have bought it online.
She should have she should have become a Maxinista. They told me that my maximum amount that I'm allowed to spend is $800 without being taxed. So they said they would have to check my bags, make sure I'm not bringing more in. It was like drama, she said. Mom of two noted that the agents ended up letting her go because she was honest. And hopefully because she had cleavage.
Yeah.
Oh, because she's cute.
Yeah. She's cute. That's what did it.
That's why I always fly with cleavage. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what trouble you're going to get into. I mean, I've also been asked to change my pants before boarding a plane, but
interesting. What's the story?
Oh God, Josie, it was American Airlines, and me and my friend Keanu. This was back in May. We were touring around together. We had just done shows in Vegas, and we were flying to Dallas to do more shows. We're flying to Austin to do I was going to do InfoWars and the Drinking Bros podcast, and then we were going to do where were we going to we're going to perform? I think in Dallas somewhere. And so we are wearing these fabulous outfits. We had just come from Vegas. We were basically wearing a pool. I was wearing a pool cover-up pants and top with an opaque bathing suit on underneath. It was a little bit of midriff. They were slightly sheer, and we're at the gate. But I didn't think it was anything too crazy. I mean, anyone who's been to Las Vegas airport, there's booty shorts, there's labia hanging out, there's everything, anything goes. A lot of working gals in that town. And as I'm about to board the flight, I feel a tap on my shoulder and I go, oh, fuck, is this about January 6th? And the guy's like, ma'am, sorry, you have to change your pants. I was like, what? And instead of asking any questions at all, I went into panic mode, and they had made us check one of our bags. So all we had was my bag. And then I'm furiously digging through my luggage. And then Keanu comes over and was like, what's wrong? And the guy's like, yeah, you too. And all she had on was a long skirt from Shein or something, but it just had a slit in it. It was a long skirt with a slit, but she had her underwear was sewn into her skirt. So and I'm just quickly going, okay, here's some 2 pairs of denim shorts, I guess. So I'm quickly because I don't want to miss a flight. And the guy wasn't like, hey, go into the bathroom, take as much time as you need. We'll hold the flight. Just go change and come back. And here's why. There's none of that. And so I panicked, Like, this is my own reaction to this because someone in authority is telling you what to do. Like,
Yep.
for me, I panicked and I was like, I don't want to miss the flight. So I just dropped trow at the gate. And then I put these different jean shorts on. And then, but poor Keanu, her underwear was sewn into this skirt. So I had to like block her. She's taking off her like skirt panty combo. And I'm trying to like block her. We're literally in front of the
like in the
fucking gate.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
we're in front of the gate. And like, it was insanity. And it was like a little traumatizing. And
That sounds like something out of a nightmare. Like you're naked in an airport.
yeah. And Kiana was so funny when she recounts this story. She's like, my tampon string was raking across the floor. Like, we're both comedians, so we like deal with shitty situations in a funny way. But it was like, you don't want to have your ass out at the gate and other things. It was really shitty. It was handled poorly. And then we have people who will say to us, oh, you didn't have to do that. But I'm like, yeah, it felt like we had to because we were the last to board. The flight is about to take off. It's that thing where they shut it down 15 minutes before. And they weren't saying, hey, take your time, or even go behind the desk, nothing. They were offering
like
not even. Yeah, the guy was like, oh, hold up this beach towel. No, none of that. So it was fucking so shitty. And we get and then we take pictures of ourselves like before and after. And in fact, the shorts that we had changed into were more revealing than our chic long outfits. So then we just we drank on the plane to try to get over it. And then, long story short, nobody in American Airlines gives a fuck. I got one sort of lame apology email, but no points, no miles, no free anything. And I'm a gold member, by the way. And
wow.
this is not how you treat a gold member. So, but I guess it was a fun life experience. But it did suck. But now I know if it happens again, I'll be like, first of all, do you even work here? Second of all, like, what's your name? What's wrong with what I'm wearing?
Like, you want me to do what? I'm sorry. Should I get my attorney to make sure that this is copacetic? Stripping court?
Ugh. Will you hold the flight? Can you explain why I'm being made to change and why maybe that person doesn't have to change? But of course, none of that occurred to me because I was panicked and didn't want to.
Yeah, it was January 6th related. They're like, let's just make her get naked and then we can call it even.
We know she didn't go inside the building, but fuck her anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, Lordy. So it was a moment, but then we made the Daily Mail over it. So that was kind of exciting.
Daily Mail is funny.
We love the Daily Mail.
I love it when they drag libs. And then their headlines are like a paragraph of like all this weird, and you're like, how? Like, where is this going? It just gets weirder the longer that I read it.
Oh yeah, it's so funny. I love it. And that reminds me of like libs of TikTok, which has the best. I mean, if you're looking for fun videos, okay. My God. All right. I know this is more of what we hate. I just want to hear what this person sounds like. Non-binary middle school teacher gives students a talk on pronouns and correcting someone if you misgender. Let me guess. This is a person who is very insecure and is working out their issues in front of a live studio audience of children.
Cool. My name is Teacher Roby. I am non-binary. I use they.
You're a teacher. You're dressed like you're ready for dodgeball. Who is going to take you seriously as a teacher?
Why do they need affirmation from children? That's the real question that we need to be asking these people.
Yes. Shouldn't you sort of, not that you don't care what they think, but they're not on your level. They're supposed to respect you. Your job is to teach a subject.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to learn about you personally.
Not at all.
Pronouns, for example, they are a great art teacher. They taught us how to draw sticks. Many of you already know that about me. Pronouns are super important for myself, for you. It's important that we get it right every single time. If you ever make a mistake, I'll just politely correct you. And you should also be making sure that you...
This is what I don't get about pronouns, right? So when you're using a pronoun, you're talking about somebody who is not present. You're saying, she went to the store. Right. But woman's like, if you mess up my pronouns, I'll correct you. It's like, what? You think the children are going to be talking about you and right in front of you to each other and
Exactly.
calling you
And
like,
you won't even be there to get upset because
I know, right? It's such gaslighting around this whole pronouns thing.
yeah, way to start your kids off on the first day of school, like anxious and nervous. Oh, we're gonna screw something new up other than all our everything for class that we're already worried about.
Use those correct pronouns. If you have questions about that, we can talk about it offline. All right. Cool.
Offline. And this is a student. Yeah, I love this. A front row student is taking this video.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you.
Good. Their parents probably said, if any of this bullshit comes up, you're recording it and you're sending it to me.
Yeah. And we're going to go viral on TikTok. And you're going to end up on Libs of TikTok, my favorite Twitter account.
I love Libs of TikTok.
Oh, I saw this too. Ugh, this is unfortunate that this is happening to Elf. I remember I was in Sephora a couple months ago. I took photos of every ad campaign where it was somebody with a mustache, like selling makeup. I mean, also known as a man, and not just an Italian or a Greek, but it was like a lot. It was like 3 or 4 different brands. And then I feel conflicted because it's like, well, it's not every brand in Sephora. I just feel like, am I going to avoid the whole store or just focus on the brands that don't do this shit?
They're really trying to end masculinity. There's really no place for boys to go. They can't be masculine because that's bad. They have to be like, they can't really even be a man. They can't be a male. They can't be white. They can't be any of that stuff. It's all bad. So they just have to, it's just, they're ungrounding men, which is horrifying coming up on World War III that they're doing that to the next generation.
It's racist to be a man. It is it's white supremacist to be a man. You have to wear lipstick and shut up. That's
exactly. And apologize for all the grievances that you didn't commit.
Apologize for existing. Yeah. Oh, what's up, Little Chad? Great show. 2 of my favorite Twitter X follows in one place. Little Chad, we're not calling it X. You know what? Maybe, Josie, how do you feel about it? Are you calling Twitter X?
I call it X because Twitter has a lot of, I don't like to dead name. You see, I'm woke. But Twitter has a lot of, I don't know. I'm just trying. I feel like it's old now. I'm trying to move forward. I'm trying to be respectful of Elon Musk, who follows me. You know?
Oh, right.
Right. I'm worried if I call it Twitter, he's going to correct me and then it's going to be a nightmare in my DMs. So,
you know what? I'm going to call it Twitter until Elon follows me and then
it'll be X.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Oh my God. I feel terrible. All the topics we were going to try to avoid, we eventually stepped in a little bit.
We need to make it positive because we talked about pies. It like canceled literally everything out. All the negativity because we talked about pies.
Do you think it's harder to raise boys right now than girls?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, girls, what we deal with girls right now and what we're fighting is the trans agenda, which targets 12-year-old girls primarily. So you got to be mindful of that for girls. But for boys, you need to raise a man in a way that they're not going to end up on someone's Me Too list or falsely accused of something or depressed or suicidal. It's really difficult. And then a lot of women raise boys and their big thing is, look how sensitive my son is. And they're raising them with these female characteristics. And you just have to be able to raise a man. And that's really hard because there's a statistic, right? The majority of men, something like 80% of men in prison come from single mother homes. However, the people in prison, the other 20% that come from married couple, it's either married mom and dad together or just single dad. You're just as likely to go to prison if you have both parents as if you had a single dad. So there's something about fatherhoods in discipline. And then because the theory is that you learn to be stoic if you learn to be a man correctly from a good father. But if you're being raised by a single mother to be a man, she's going to teach you how to cope with things emotionally. And that's that the men that go to prison are emotional men. They lash out, they punch, they fight, they scream. Those are the men that wind up in prison. It's not the stoic ones. So that's kind of the reason.
Right. And there is a misunderstanding right now. people confuse stoicism for, oh, you can't let boys feel their feelings. They're shoving down their feelings, and that's not at all.
No, they're dealing with their feelings by being stoic about them, being like, do I need to get emotional right now? No, probably not.
Yeah. Can I put this away for later? Does this need my immediate emotional reaction? Or
Like, can I compartmentalize this? Yeah, of course they can. But they're teaching men to be like, no, you don't compartmentalize. You act like a woman. And that's what's that.
And you can't really fault women for raising their boys with leaning on female qualities, because that's their women. And if you don't have anyone balancing you out.
Exactly. So what they're doing, they're incentivizing single motherhood, which incentivizes putting men in prison, primarily Black men in prison. So it all comes back to incentivizing single motherhood and stigmatizing being married, stigmatizing the family, stigmatizing a 2-parent home, stigmatizing the nuclear family. It all goes back to that. It's all about control.
Yeah. So it's almost like if you can get your girls if you can basically like get them out of the trans age, like get them to stay girls past. But I think if they make it to like 17, they're probably okay.
Yep. Yeah. So gender dysphoria tends to set in on younger girls, like, and it's being a tomboy is different than you're not gender dysphoric if you're a tomboy, but I think tomboy was added to the gender list just because everything is marginalized now. But being gender dysphoric, it tends to set in at a younger age, like 7 to 9. And many of the girls who are gender dysphoric were either assaulted, sadly, or they felt like their dad always wanted a son. And so they're trying to, those are the two statistics why girls become this. So instead of treating these issues like that are treatable, like, we're going to help you with your, post-assault trauma, or your dad's just got to show you that he always wanted a girl. There's very easy ways to deal with these, but instead they cut off body parts and cross-sex hormones and block the puberty. Puberty is the cure for gender dysphoria. This was proven in a study from the 80s into 2004. I think they followed boys, and they took like 120 boys that were all gender dysphoric and followed them. 90%, 88% of the boys grew out of the gender dysphoria, and about half of those boys turned out just to be gay. And that lasted through it, those other 10%, but the cure for it was puberty. These boys naturally went through puberty and like, oh, so this is what's going on. But what they're doing with the puberty blockers is they're blocking the cures. Mm-hmm. They're blocking it, and then they're cross-sexing you, and they're turning you into whatever. And then you get through this different puberty, and, you still have a 41% chance of trying to commit suicide because it doesn't fix it.
Yeah, and then you're on some sort of pills for the rest of your life. So
you're dependent on pharma forever.
It's like unfortunately, well, we see men too, but the stereotype is like the woman that keeps getting more and more plastic surgery, but that doesn't fix what's going on inside. It's like, well, why can't we do this for kids? Because there's more money to be made. It's really cruel.
And you create lifelong patients doing that.
Yep. It's gross.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to keep it upbeat and fun. Yay, Josie.
Mm-hmm.
What is coming up for you? What is exciting and new? What are we working on, and where can people follow you?
I'm working on a Spaces show, an official show through Timcast, where I do what I do. Many of you watch me on there, and it's just, I do Spaces and I interview people, political candidates or authors or just anybody. And I love doing that. I love having panels and all that stuff. And it'll be just an official show, which I think half of it'll be filmed and put on YouTube. We're still working out the details of that. So that's up and coming. You can find me on Twitter, X, TRHL official. And you can go ahead and go over to timcast.com and subscribe to us over there and help support our work.
I love it, Josie. And I'm serious about this podcast idea.
It's funny. My publicist actually brought up the idea of doing a podcast, and I was like, who would I do a podcast with? I mean, and then it just comes up organically in this conversation. So yes, we will work out the logistics. Maybe we could do it like before Thanksgiving.
That would be amazing. Thanksgiving content. Yes.
Yep. I'm totally about that life. Set it all up, film it.
Okay.
On our channels.
I'm really excited for the podcast. Okay. Wow. I'm actually excited. All right. Josie, you're the absolute best. You're my favorite other redhead on the internet.
You are mine.
Thank you to the chat for your comments and questions. We appreciate you so much. And again, if you're in the LA area, come see me next weekend at the Pineapple Hill Saloon with Lila Hart and Keanu Thompson. Get your tickets on my website, ChrissieMayr.com. Yes, podcast IRL, indeed.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
I love it.
Thank you guys, and we will see you next